Okay, well, let's get started. So appreciate everybody joining us tonight for our Rising 11th and 12th grade course selection Q&A webinar. A little bit of an agenda for us. We'll do some introductions. I'll run through some important dates. We've had a couple of things, just some minor changes and some dates. I want to run through those with you. And then we'll have obviously a big chunk of time for some questions and answers with all of our guidance counselors. And we have some assistant principals here today. So with that, why don't we do some quick introductions, and we'll go by alpha group. That's how we work here. So we'll start off with the A to GOU.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monique Ballantyne. I'm the guidance counselor for students with the last name A through GOU. Welcome. Let's do this.
Thank you. Hi, and I'm Michael Martinez. I'm an assistant principal. I work with Ms. Ballantyne, also with the A to GOU group. Appreciate your time tonight.
Hello, I'm Jessica Kasha. I'm a guidance counselor. I work with students and families with last names GOB through L.
Hi,
Good evening. My name is Nico Flores.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Nico Flores, assistant principal. I also work with the Alpha GOV through L.
Sorry about that, Nico. I'm Sylvia Lamb, and I'm guidance counselor for students with last name M through SHA.
And I'm Janice Chen, assistant principal. I partner with Sylvia Lamb with students with last names M through SHA.
Hi, everybody. I'm Clay Stiver, guidance counselor for students with last names SHE through Z.
I'm Mike White. I'm assistant principal. I work with Clay, again with the end of the alphabet, SHE through Z.
All right. We're very excited to be with you tonight. So these are some dates. We have a lot of activities that have been going on. Hopefully your students have been coming home and talking to you about all the great things that they've been learning with some of the webinars that we've had during the day with our counselors. So over the next week, we're going to have a lot of things here going on. We have an electives night on February 2nd. We'll be posting some links and information regarding courses and things like that. That'll be available here pretty soon. Probably early next week is when that will come out. To February 10th is our course information fair for students. That'll be during the day. So students will have an opportunity to come and interact and ask questions with teachers about specific courses that they're thinking about taking. So this is a little bit of a change. We had originally thought about opening the portal for registration on February 8th. We wanted to give students the opportunity to really go through all of the activities and have the course information fair done. So we're going to open up the portal on February 11th, and that'll be open through March 5th for students to register their courses online. And then March 5th is when our course request forms will be due. March 18th and 19th for students that are registering for the first time for Chinese 2 or above. That'll be our Chinese diagnostic language assessment on those 2 days. So with that, let's kind of jump into some Q&A. I'll stop sharing. So we have a question and answer in there. Feel free to drop your questions in there. We're going to do our best to answer as many of them as we can. We really want to focus in on the course selection and questions regarding that. So if you have anything that's very specific to your student or really specific to courses, we recommend holding off on those, maybe reaching out to a teacher or a guidance counselor a little bit later on down the road if you have anything that's specific to a student. So go ahead and start dropping those questions in the Q&A, and we will start answering those as best as we can. Can I put this flash slide up again? I'm gonna, you know what I can do is drop those dates in the Q&A for you. So if somebody can kind of take over moderating while I get that in there.
Can we talk real quick about honors and AP recognition during college admissions, kind of the impact they may or may not have?
Sure. So an honors level is an accelerated course. So if you want to, it goes a little bit more in depth, and the rigor, it is a little bit more rigorous. AP is a college level course taken in the high school environment. So it's college level. So the amount of work compared to a college prep course obviously is 2 to 3 times more for the amount of time you put into it. In terms of college level designation, when they calculate grade point average, this is really dependent on the prospective universities. They will use, they can use give an additional point for an AP as well as an honors course. Now for the AP course, there is an assessment at the end of the year. And pending, what your child earns on that assessment, they can earn college credits towards specific classes while they're in college.
Thank you. So there's some questions in here regarding the course info fair. So that's going to be on February 10th, and it'll be addressing all of the courses that we have here on campus. So there'll be links again available with videos specific to courses, so students can go in there and explore and watch videos that teachers have been making regarding specific courses that they might be thinking about. And on that course information fair day, much like we are doing right now in terms of question and answer, that'll be really the format of the course information fair. So students will be going that day and having an opportunity to sit and interact and ask some questions with teachers regarding those courses. So that'll be kind of the format there.
Michael, there was a question about sports and if they'll be happening. We are starting sports in line with the county's recommendations for COVID, and we are starting our first season on Monday, February 1st. There's a webinar tonight at 7 o'clock to talk about the details of that and which sports are offered in which season. We are doing an abbreviated 6-week season for all of our sports as permitted by the color code for our county for COVID restrictions. I would encourage you to come to the 7 o'clock webinar tonight. Mr. Clausenser sent out that link earlier this week.
Thank you. Mr. Flores or Ms. Kasha, we have a question here about tutoring and AVID. How does somebody sign up to be a tutor for AVID?
Yeah, AVID is a wonderful program and it relies heavily on tutors for the class. The tutors really have a unique experience where they work with a class of students in a tutoring, but also a mentorship role. So they get to kind of connect with the students as upperclassmen and really kind of, share with them their experience of what high school is like. I mean, you think back to freshman year and then junior, senior year and how much you've changed and being able to kind of share that experience with younger students. They run tutorials. They do a lot of really cool things. There is an application and there is an info session for AVID Tutors. The info session is next Wednesday, I believe, at 2 o'clock. And that information has been posted in Schoology. So if you are interested in attending the tutor info session, check your Schoology account. You can also email me, Mrs. Kasha, or Miss Rose, who is my co-coordinator for AVID, and we can get that information out to you. So come to the info session, see what it's about. Miss Rose and myself will be presenting, and we also have some AVID tutors who have been AVID tutors for the last 2 years to kind of share their experiences. But it's a wonderful opportunity to meet students that you would normally not work with at Monte Vista, to partner with a teacher, and to really have a unique experience and kind of give back to your school community. So we'd love to have you.
Jess, on the heels of that, could you kind of give an overview of what AVID what AVID is?
Yeah, AVID is a program that we offer at Monte Vista that students typically sign up for their freshman year, and they take it every year. It's an elective course. The goal of the AVID program is to make sure students are four-year college eligible, but we guide students through the college process, making sure they understand the different college options, 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges, but really you're also learning valuable school and life skills, study strategies, test taking strategies, organization, how to self-advocate for yourself, how to work with your teachers. So it's a unique elective program that builds a lot of fundamental skills for students, not just for high school, but for college and the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So there's a question in here regarding TA and kind of the top 6, where to put that. So my recommendation would be, in terms of prioritizing your classes, if you're thinking about being a TA and you've been working with a teacher to, identify that course that you're wanting a TA for, and it's really, really something that you want to make sure is in your schedule, I would suggest putting that in the top 6. I think we want to make sure that we get your schedule put together based off of your priorities. And if that's one of the classes that you really, really want to be in, we would always suggest making sure that your top 6 choices are those classes that you really want to make sure that you get into. So if you're thinking about being a TA and that's a priority for you, I would definitely suggest getting that into the top 6. There's a question here regarding American Lit versus honors versus regular. I don't know if one of our guidance counselors can jump in on that?
Well, I mean, American Lit is a high school American literature course. Honors is an accelerated, more rigorous version of the same course. So it's going to cover, more material. They're going to read more novels, do more exploration in depth. So it's similar, but obviously the honors is going to be a more reading and writing heavy course than the normal college prep American Lit course. But if you go to the course info fair, you can find out more specifics on the differences between the two courses.
Let's see. So I just want to mention in terms of the course request forms, that's going to look a little bit different this year. Usually we have hard copies that students will be bringing in. So we're going to be shifting to an informed K-12 document. So we'll be posting those links on our website closer to the portal opening on 2/11. So we'll send out messages with those links. We'll be posting them on our Monte Vista website, as well as in Schoology for students to access those. So keep on the lookout for those. Again, there'll be an informed K-12 document. So all of the course request forms will be electronic this year.
Okay, so there's a question, what's the future of a TA if classes are still online? So we actually do have TAs right now helping teachers. So that is still an option. I don't think that we have as many TAs as we historically have when classes are in person. Obviously the workload is a little bit different. There's not so much hands-on stuff with the teachers. But we're all pretty hopeful that we'll be in person next year, hopefully. So with the TA, it's not something that students need to sign up for on their course form now. When they get their actual schedule in August and they see what periods they have free, they can work with some teachers and figure out who they can TA for. And there's a TA form in the office they can pick up and have their teacher and parent sign. And then we will go ahead and add that TA to a free period.
So there's a question here about open period requests. In terms of requesting other periods other than 1st and 7th. And so right now we only are working with 1st and 7th as options for students to request open periods for. So there is no other open period that we can have students requesting. So 1st and 7th are the only class periods that you can request open at this time. Mr. White, there's some questions in here about trying out for sports. Tennis and swimming, how do sports tryouts, do you have any idea how that's going to look this year at all?
I would encourage people to go to the webinar at 7 o'clock. I'm trying to post the link for people that are asking it. There's no way for me to send something to everyone that I can find because I'm not a host. But yeah, Mr. Bonacorsi will be talking about that. There is a 2-week warm-up period, get organized tryout period for sports before competition begins. But I would go to the 7 o'clock webinar tonight to get specific information if you're worried about tennis and swimming, which are in the first season. I also see a lot of questions about parents are worried what happens if sports are canceled. Should I sign up for a PE class just to be safe second semester next year? That is a good idea. And we will also be reaching out to students if sports are canceled that need PE credit to graduate next year to talk about how we can do that. And when we have more information about what sports will be looking like next year as we progress and the vaccines roll out.
So in terms of preparing for a chemistry honors, guidance counselors, do you have any kind of thoughts and recommendations on students taking chemistry before that? What does that look like? How would you prepare for a class like chemistry honors? Any prior experience, or what would a student do to prepare for that?
So chemistry honors is an introductory level course, so no prior chemistry knowledge is needed. Like anything, if you're taking an honors level course, just understand it's very accelerated. A more rigorous course, more work. It's going to go at a much faster pace. So it's introductory level, so no prior chemistry knowledge is needed for chemistry honors.
So there's some questions about, turning in the forms like as early as possible or as long as we get it in by the 5th. So we just want to assure you that it's not like a first come, first serve basis. So the window opens on the 11th and it closes on the 5th. So whether you get it in on the 11th or on the 5th, we don't start building our sections until after the 5th. So please don't, we don't want you to make rash decisions regarding course selection. So take the time between now and the 5th, get good information and then fill it out properly and then submit it by the 5th.
So guidance counselors, in terms of for a junior, what would be some options for the literature English? What would be some considerations for a junior signing up for those courses? What are we offering?
So for the literature option, you have American literature, you have American literature honors, and then you have American studies, which is our combo class. And our combo class is, it's larger, so it's 60 students and it's team taught by an English teacher as well as a history teacher. So it's a 2-period combination. They teach it together. So your students really understand the connections between, the literature as well as the history together.
So there's a question in here in terms of how much experience do you need if you plan to take AP Physics 1 without taking physics before?
And AP chemistry. So maybe just talk through like, I haven't taken any chemistry, but I'm going to jump right into this college level AP course.
Yeah.
Maybe talk through that a little bit in your experience, guidance counselors.
So obviously students come in Monte Vista their freshman year and they take biology. So that is an introductory high school biology course. And then their sophomore year, their options are chemistry or chemistry honors, physics or AP Physics 1. Traditionally, I would say students take regular high school physics or they take chemistry or chemistry honors their sophomore year. And then that kind of opens the door in their knowledge of high school level bio and chem or physics to then be more prepared to take a college level. The students that we see that struggle the most in AP Physics 1 are sophomores because they haven't had, any exposure to physics before. So if your student is taking chemistry as a sophomore and then they're thinking about taking AP Chem their junior year, that makes sense because they've already been exposed to introductory chemistry and now they're going to take on the college level version of that course. If your child took chemistry their sophomore year and they're thinking about taking AP Physics 1 their junior year, that's fine. The recommendation for AP Physics 1 is successful completion of biology and successful completion of chemistry. But keep in mind that taking a college level AP Physics course without any sort of physics knowledge might be a little challenging because you're going from no exposure to the college level version, which obviously moves at a quicker pace. It's more rigorous. So we just want students to choose courses that make the most sense for them. Obviously AP Physics 1 is math heavy. So if your student struggles in math, maybe that's not the best science course. As juniors and seniors, our students have the ability to take any science course we offer besides freshman biology. So it really just depends on what they're thinking of doing in the future, where are their interests? Does it make sense for them to take an honors or an AP level science course? And then if so, which one? And it's great to talk to their current science teacher and ask them, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Does this make sense for what I want to do? Does this make sense, based on what you've seen from me? Do you think that I could be successful in this class? We can kind of provide basic guidance in our experience about levels and such, but it's really, go to the course info fair, go to the course night, listen to what the teachers say, think about, the big picture. What other courses are you going to take? Does this make sense for me, to do in the future and so on? So there's kind of a lot of pieces to see if it makes the most sense.
So I just want to mention again, there's some questions that were coming in about the course request forms being paper versus online. So again, we made a switch this year to an electronic version of the course request form, an informed K-12 request form. We'll post those links on the Monte Vista website, and we'll also put them in Schoology for students. And again, those will be available as we get closer to opening the portal that week of February 8th, probably the 9th or 10th is when we'll have those links available for students to start using those. Again, they're going to be electronic, so everything will be routed. And when you're done filling out those forms, students will send them to the parents for their consent. And then when the family's finished with those, send them off, they'll come to us electronically. So you won't have to turn any hard papers into us anymore. Let's see. So there's a question here regarding the PE credits. If the student only needs 5 credits, are they able to take just 1 semester of a PE class?
Yeah, so if they're, if it's their last 5 credits, and they just need to fulfill it, they can enroll into, ideally we like our kids to take the PE classes year long. I mean, it's good for them anyways, it's good to get exercise, but after a semester, if they've fulfilled it and they've earned those 5, then they are able to drop it if they wish to.
Thanks, Sylvia. Can somebody talk a little bit about US history versus AP US history?
Yeah, I can try to do that. So US history and AP US history, I think very similar classes in terms of the material, kind of the basic material, but AP US history goes a lot more in depth. It is a lot more work, a lot more reading, a lot more writing, a lot more research. So, it's very similar in terms of American history, but you're going a lot more in depth with AP US history, and the homework load is a lot more rigorous of a class. I'd say APUSH is one of our toughest courses that we offer. So I really advise students to think carefully before choosing that class. It's a great class, but the workload is pretty extreme.
I'd like to add to what Mr. Stiver is saying. I think if your child is passionate about history and they really love it and they enjoy it and they enjoy the writing and the reading and the discussion, they're like a true historian, and maybe they want to pursue a career in political science or history, then I would say that's a great class for them. But if you are a STEM major and that's not going to be your focus in terms of your future, if that AP history is not going to be your focus, then there's no need for your child to enroll into that class.
Just real quick, the AP US government compared to US history is really hard to do. One's a semester course that's a college level course. The other one's a full year course in a different grade level. So it's kind of hard to compare those two. But in a lot of these questions, there's a lot of requests of, well, what about this and what about that in regards to the specific class? We definitely encourage you to watch the videos that the teachers provide you. That will be distributed next week. Watch those videos. You don't need to watch all of them. Just concentrate on the courses that you're interested in. And those will give you a lot of information, a lot of insight on what to expect in that class next year. And then when you compile your class of, 5, 6 classes, you can figure out, wow, is my workload too much? Is it balanced? And kind of make decisions in that way. Students can go to the course information fair, as we mentioned, on the 10th. And you're always welcome to email the department lead with any questions you have specific to that content area. I'll go ahead and take this AP classes that juniors take on average. We've found that if you take 3 or more, you're reaching the point of anxiety, and it's the point where it's not healthy, and you start to reach that threshold where you're either going to break down or drop that course. And we don't want to see that. So you need to really be thoughtful. That's why we're giving you all this information ahead of time. I would say, going back to what Ms. Lamb said, if you've got some passion for that particular subject and you want to take 2 or 3 at the very most, then go for it. But if you're just doing it because you think it's going to give you an edge, it's not. You're going to be in our office, you're going to be melting down, and you're going to be going, how do I get out of this? How can I, credit recover or grade repair. So really think this through before you start thinking about what your transcript's going to look like. You have to do the work. You're going to be the one doing the work. We'll guide you. It's your decision, but you really need to think what's right for you, because that you can't work through the average number of AP classes in that regard.
So there's a question in terms of when can you start submitting the course selection form? So again, we're going to open that portal on February 11th for students to start registering for courses online. That will be the date that we will start taking the course request forms electronically as well. So February 11th is when the portal opens. That'll be the date that students are also able to start submitting their course request forms as well. It runs again through March 5th. And the course request forms will be due on that same day. So we'll close the portal on the 5th. Course request forms are also due on that same day.
Okay, so there have been some questions about AP and honors courses and grades and all of that. Just to let you guys know that FUHSD does not weigh any grades. So the highest GPA any student can ever have with us is a 4.0, and that would be if they got an A in every class they had. Honors and AP courses both give you that extra grade point that Ms. Lamb talked about earlier. So traditionally, an A is worth 4 points, a B is worth 3, a C is worth 2, and a D is worth 1. For honors and AP classes, in terms of a weighted GPA, that A is worth 5, a B is worth 4, a C is worth 3, and a D is worth 2. We, again, do not calculate weighted GPAs. We only go by unweighted, but there are some colleges like UCs and private schools that will allow a weighted GPA. So if you know somebody who has above a 4.0 or something, that is why. You would have to calculate that on your own. And again, that extra grade point is for honors and AP courses.
Can someone answer a question for business courses? I see several people are asking, can I take an upper level business course without taking principles of business?
The only one that says that you can take without principles of business is law, and that is also still recommended. Principles of business really is your foundational course, and we recommend that for all levels. But if you're looking at that one exception, which course would it be that doesn't say there's a hard prereq? That would be the law class.
So I'm seeing some questions in here about concurrent enrollment. So I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, concurrent enrollment is not required at all. I think even for many students, we wouldn't even advise it necessarily. We do send out information about concurrent enrollment. If you have a specific concurrent enrollment question, definitely reach out to your counselor or go to the Monte Vista website and our guidance page. We have all the instructions for concurrent enrollment in there. And then afterwards, if you still have questions, I would advise reaching out to your counselor specifically, and we can help you out with that or talk you through that process.
There are also some questions about how do we reach out to our counselor and how do we get some one-to-one counseling. All you have to do is email your Alpha Guidance Counselor, and we all have Calendly links, and what we do is we just have you schedule it through and book an appointment with us through that. So just email us directly.
I had mentioned earlier a document that I'm going to be releasing that has videos that are made by the teachers regarding the courses, links to the course information fair, et cetera. It's a pretty big document. I'm going to release that probably by this coming Monday is what we're shooting for. So some teachers are still working on some of those videos right now. We want to make sure that we get everything in there for students so that they're able to access all of the information that they need in order to be able to go to the course information fair. And then of course, being able to, get the information about the courses that they're thinking about signing up for. So we're shooting to get that posted up by Monday so that everybody has that information in time.
I just want to say we're getting a lot of questions about GPAs, concurrent enrollment, college UC eligibility requirements. We understand you have a lot of questions. This Q&A is geared for course selection information, so classes at Monte Vista. So we are not going to have the ability to answer all of those other questions. Our guidance team is working on dates where we will be in junior, rising senior classes this March, talking about the college process and how to be prepared for that. We will do junior guidance night for obviously, again, rising seniors. So please know that you will get a lot of information this spring from us, your students in the classroom, parent nights. Things are changing rapidly with the College Board and with colleges and application requirements and things. So we want to make sure we are giving you accurate info. So please ask your course selection questions and know that we will be in contact about college related things. And if you have questions about your individual child and college preparedness, you are welcome to reach out to your guidance counselor.
BC after pre-calc honors. Anybody want to take that one on? Okay.
I can try.
Yeah, go for it.
Those are very specific questions. So, if a student were to take pre-calculus honors, I'd say a lot of students either go with AP Calc AB or AP Calc BC the following year. AP Calculus BC is a tougher class. It covers more material. I believe it covers about 10 or 11 chapters of the calculus book, whereas Calculus AB covers about 6 or 7 chapters. So it's almost double the material than Calc AB. So if you're, a student in pre-calculus honors, getting a pretty good grade, I'd say an A, and you're very passionate about math, turning your work in on time, very responsible. You like the challenge of math. If you get a bad grade on a test, you're the type of student to go in to the teacher and get help right away and try to learn where you went wrong. Calc BC could be the class for you. I wouldn't say it's a huge jump. Like I said, it really just depends on the student and can really vary from student to student.
Michael, can you talk through how the course or how the schedule is created? We have a question about the photography being in your top 6. Are you guaranteed to have it as a junior?
Yeah, so, we always talk to students in terms of prioritizing their courses. And of course, you've been here for a while as a junior. And so utilizing that top 6 tells us that these are the most important classes to you. So as a junior, you're going to have priority over a class that a sophomore and a freshman might be requesting. So we guarantee you 6 classes. We don't always guarantee you the class. For example, you might be signing up for that photo class and you might be the only one signing up for it, and we might not have enough students to offer it. So we can't guarantee you that you're going to get the class, but as a junior, you're going to have priority over sophomores and freshmen in signing up for the class. And again, making sure that you have your top 6 as those most important classes. That's what we would always recommend to a student.
There's a question about how much homework does AP Bio give? So just as a general rule, each AP class is about an hour of reading or writing a night. For junior year, we hear, students come into the guidance office and say that they take AP Bio and AP US History, and those are both very reading and writing intensive courses, and each have at least an hour of reading and writing a night. And that can add up. So if you're not continually doing that 1 hour every night and you skip it one night, then that's 2 hours the next night. So on average, an AP class is about an hour just for that class a night, but it really depends on the AP. Some could be more, some could be less, depending on what's going on in that class, your students' strength in that class. If it's something that they really love in a subject area that comes naturally to them, it may take them less time to study and do homework and prep for it. If your student is a slow reader versus a faster reader, there's just so many variables, but on average, it's at least an hour a night per AP course.
Can one of you talk through colleges or universities giving AP credit for AP classes taken at Monte Vista?
I can jump in on that, Mr. Flores. So there is actually a really useful website on College Board. It's the AP Credit Policy website, where you can literally look up every single college in the United States and find out which AP exam they'll give credit for and which class it will match up, at that certain college. It really varies from college to college, each state, whether it's private or public. So if you want to be sure that the AP biology exam gives you credit at a certain school, you can look it up on that website. A lot of times, if you just Google, AP credit policy, College Board, it'll be the first thing that pops up and you can look it up for each college.
So there's a question in here regarding a student that might be potentially interested in a career in the medical field. What are some science classes that they might think about signing up for that would help with that passion of theirs?
It really just depends. Obviously, if you're going to go into the medical field, you're probably going to major in science for your undergrad. And some colleges, not UCs, but other private schools, require or prefer that you have done all 3 levels of science. So they say bio, chem, and physics. They don't have to be honors or AP of any of them. So that's something to think about. So if you took freshman bio with us and then you took chem with us or physics with us your sophomore year, then you might want to at some point junior or senior year take the other version, and just make sure that you've done all 3 science classes with us. If you've done that and you're looking for an additional class your senior year, physiology is a great class because you're learning about the human body, systems, bones, organs, disease, stress. A lot of those classes, like physiology is a class that you will likely have to take anyway in college. So I would say that a lot of times students want to take physiology or they want to take AP bio, but again, it really just depends on what you've taken so far at Monte Vista, and where you're thinking of applying. So I would say definitely reach out to your guidance counselor so that they can see and you guys can have that conversation about what makes sense for you. There's lots of kids screaming in my house, sorry.
This student, oh, they got it.
We're doing our best to answer all these questions as fast as we can. So we try to answer them live and then somebody gets them in there for us. So
I really want to go back and stress, to highlight the point about, because there's a lot of questions about taking APs and how many. I mean, just put it in perspective. Your child is 15, 16 years old. AP is a college level course, So an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old. And even at that point, when you're in college, think back, look at your schedule. You're taking probably 3 classes, right? Or 4 classes, and that's a full load. But here, if your kids are loading up in 2 or 3 or 4 AP classes and they have their other classes, they got a full load of 7, could be 6 or 7. So it is a lot of work. And so we just want to ensure you think about that thoughtfully and ensure that your schedule is really balanced. Because, at the end of the day, we want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy, both mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Especially for those rising seniors in here too. You have to factor in college applications. I mean, that's a whole other class that you're going to have for at least one semester, that first semester. So I like that you brought that up, Mrs. Lamb.
There's a question here about the time that seniors need to spend on applications and stuff in the fall. I'm assuming that you're asking that question because your child is a junior. So again, we're going to have junior guidance presentations in the month of March. In history classes, we're going to talk to students about kind of the timeline for, preparing for college applications. Students will not apply to college until fall of their senior year. So we actually have a document that starts spring of junior year and says like, what can they start doing to prepare? And a lot of it is just college research. Like, what majors are you considering? Like, start looking at colleges, go on their websites. We know you can't visit a lot of colleges right now in person. Maybe this summer things will change, but a lot of colleges are doing virtual tours. You can reach out to admissions, you can find a lot of information. So a lot of it is kind of just doing that prep work now. So we will give a timeline about what you can do. We will talk about what can be done over the summer to prepare. We will talk about what will happen in the fall. So the more that students can do in the summer to prepare, the less stressful it will be in the fall. And I promise you, we will get that information out to you and to your students in the next coming months. So you are fine. There's nothing you need to do now. So don't stress about it. Easier said than done, I know.
And I would just like to add to, in their senior year, when your seniors need help, if it's their essay, if it's a question, We really are here to help them their senior year. We know it's stressful. We know sometimes they may freak out over a detail, and that's totally fine. You just need to ask us questions, and we're definitely willing to help.
Yeah, and especially for the rising seniors, this can potentially be your last year at home with your family and with your friends. So we also want you to be thinking about that, right? So it's a bittersweet time. We want you to be able to also enjoy that time and not be stressed about like taking all these classes and then having to do your college applications. So at the end of the day, it really goes back to finding that sweet spot and finding that good balance where you're able to enjoy that last year here in high school.
Just to go back to the course information, I saw a couple of questions in there. So it'll be on February 10th. It'll be from 9 to 10 a.m. in the morning. Again, it'll be on February 10th, 9 to 10 in the morning for students to go and ask questions from teachers after they've seen all the videos that we've released. Hopefully they've gone through all the course videos that our awesome counselors put together for them. And then by that time, they'll be able to go and talk to teachers and ask specific questions during that chunk of time on February 10th. So the course videos, again, I'm going to post those links this Monday. They will be available on our website. So if you go to mvhs.fuhsd.org right now, it will take you to our website, and a button will pop up that takes you directly to our course selection page. Lots of information on there. Hopefully you've already been there to watch the videos, but that will be where we are posting this particular document that I've been referencing. We will be posting the Inform K-12 course request forms there. So that's really your stop in terms of getting any information that we are releasing. And I would check it, every couple of days, because we really try to post as much as we can. For example, we'll be posting this webinar there within the next couple of days. So that's really where we are putting all of the information regarding course selection on that page.
There's a question about how being a TA looks for college. And it's an interesting answer because students who are TAs do get assigned a grade for that course. So if you're a TA and you're doing well, you can get an A, and that A will actually go into your cumulative GPA for colleges. It would not go into your GPA for UCs and CSUs because they only look at certain classes, and TA is not considered one of the classes that they factor into for that. But if your child was applying to private or out-of-state schools, and the cumulative GPA, which is every course and every grade they've ever earned, that would factor into that. So that could be beneficial for them. Additionally, TAs get to work with teachers. Usually they pick teachers that they've had classes with before, that they've had strong relationships. So maybe you TA for an English teacher who you had your junior year. And so that English teacher could write you a letter of recommendation saying, I had this student for junior year. They were my TA senior year. So they can kind of talk about you in two different aspects. And that's, a great way to showcase different sides of your personality, your academics and your personal relationship with that teacher. So, I think sometimes students want to be TAs and parents say like, oh, I don't know, it's kind of a waste of time or whatever, but there's a lot of benefits from being a TA. And in addition to being a TA, we have student tutors. So there are writing tutors that help out with the English classes and help the students in those classes with their writing, essays, and editing. We have bilingual tutors who work with the language department, and they help in certain language classes. A lot of times it's fluent speakers, or maybe a student is at a high level and they finished AP junior year and they want to be a bilingual tutor their senior year. Again, we have AVID tutors. So there are a lot of unique opportunities where students, maybe if they don't want to be a TA, but they want to be a tutor. So there's cool opportunities where students can be more involved with students and with staff members in a unique way.
Looks like our questions are slowing down quite a bit. I think we've
Now we could all go home.
done a good job.
Because some of us are home. Some of you are not at home. Can you take a language course in the summer? Only if you travel abroad, and you can go to like Italy and take Italian.
We do not advocate for summer classes.
No. If you have a specific situation or you want to know, reach out to your child's guidance counselor and talk about it. And we're happy to kind of plan and figure out what makes the most sense for your child.
So a question here, difference between AMLIT and American Studies.
Well, American literature is a single class where it's just American literature with 30 kids. AM studies is a class of 60 and it combines American literature and US history. Typically the difference is you're covering the same curriculum, you're just doing it in different fashions. In a different fashion. One of the American Studies nice thing is it's a really collaborative group. So you've got 60 kids in a classroom, you're working in small groups, very collaborative, and it's thematic. So you might not follow a timeline, it'll just simply be thematic and combining the two, English and social sciences, whereas American literature will probably follow kind of its own path and work on the skills that you need in regard to English, and keep it separate from the US history that you may be doing in your other class.
Let's see.
About grade recovery.
Yeah, we're just gonna.
That is a great question that no one has asked yet.
Yeah.
No one in the other session either. I'm shocked. So if a student earns a D or an F with us at Monte Vista, they have a couple options. And the first thing that I want to say is reach out to your guidance counselor, because depending on your situation, there's so many factors. So I will give you kind of a broad answer. Typically the options are to take the same class again the following year with us, or to take the class elsewhere. Depending on what the class is, our district might offer it over the summer for free in Summer Academy. It might be something that you have to find elsewhere at an online virtual high school, or take at a local community college. So if your child has earned a D or an F in a class, they can retake that class to remain college eligible. But really you want to reach out to your guidance counselor for more details and how to create the plan that makes the most sense for your child to make up those credits, or for you if you're a student. Ooh, follow-up question on that. Yes, that grade will still, so the D or the F will remain on your transcript. Say you got an F in PE, that F in PE will always stay there. But you can retake the PE class and that new grade and class will go on your transcript and the credit will be given to the new class. So we have no way of removing original grades from the transcript, that will stay there. But colleges really, colleges are colleges, but they understand, they know that things happen, that there are situations with students, who knows what's going on. Maybe you had some personal stuff going on in your life. Maybe you struggled in a class for a certain reason. Colleges really want to see that you are taking the time and effort to retake that class, to repair that grade. So that's what they're looking for. They'll see the original grade, yes, but they will see that you put in the time and effort to retake that class, and they will see what your new grade is. And that's what they will be factored into your GPA and on your transcript. And that's what they will care about.
To add to that, colleges value A's, B's, and C's as sufficient. So anything C's or above are fabulous. Anything below that, if your student does earn, then obviously you'd work with your individual alpha guidance counselor. But if you got a C or better, no need to repeat. They will not take a repeat grade if you repeat something that's a C or better.
Anyone want to jump in and talk about how GPAs are reported? The cumulative and or UC CSU GPA.
Yeah, so for CSUs, you actually, for CSUs and UCs, you self-report all of your A through G classes, and there will be a calculator on the CSU website which walks your student through how to calculate their GPA to submit. And for UCs, they don't ask you to calculate any GPA. All they ask your child to do is list their A through G courses and the grade they received, because UCs themselves will recalculate that GPA. And for private out-of-state colleges, we submit our official transcript and we report the cumulative grade point average. When the private and out-of-state schools see the transcript, it's at their discretion how they want to, or if they want to recalculate the grade point average.
So there's a question in here. I don't know if somebody wants to address in terms of like two classes in the same department doubling up. Do colleges know that that's something that we don't do in the Fremont district? How would that impact? And does that limit the number of classes that they take in terms of APs? For example, AP Chem isn't allowed for a sophomore.
Yeah, so I'd like to say that, so how colleges view students is really, they view them in the context of their own school. So they will not compare your student to a like Fremont High School or Homestead High School or Lowell High School. So they view them in the context of the availability and the resources that you have at your home school. So then, so that levels out the playing field. So there wouldn't be any issues in terms of, you know, who has access versus who doesn't have access.
So summer courses, I think Ms. Kashi spoke a little bit about just credit recoveries, and that's really the summer, what we do in terms of classes that we do in the summer are for credit recovery. So again, just piggybacking off of what was said earlier, if you have a D or an F and you're trying to, you know, recover that, that would be what we would offer in the summer.
We don't offer enrichment courses over the summer. We only offer credit recovery courses. So if your child earned a D or an F, the district does have Summer Academy, which is the fancy name for summer school. And we only offer English and history, algebra 1, sometimes geometry and PE and freshman biology. Those are the only classes that are offered over the summer if a student has earned a D or an F in a class with us.
So there's a question in here about hearing prior student experiences with courses, and it's very interesting. That question just came up because I'm actually working on that right now. So I don't have a lot of information on it, but we are trying to come up with a part of that document that I referenced earlier in terms of the course videos. We're looking hopefully to have some sort of connection to students that can provide some you know, perspective if students are interested in going in and talking to other students about their experiences in courses. So right now we're still working on what that might look like. So hang tight, and we're hoping that will be connected to that document that I referenced that I'll be posting on Monday. Hopefully down the line a little bit, we'll have that connection for students to connect with students about their experiences.
There's a question about classes needed to graduate. Guidance counselors, we look at all of our students' transcripts every March and see are students on track for graduation? Are they on track for college eligibility? If not, for some reason, we will send a letter home and we will make sure that there is a plan to do so. In the fall as well, guidance counselors and assistant principals go through senior transcripts. So we look at senior transcripts right when school begins to make sure that, you know, nothing has slipped through. Maybe a student forgot to sign up for a PE class or an art class. Those seem to be the two that students miss the most. And then we make sure that they're good. So we will check. There's nothing that you need to do over the summer. We will make sure that you have a plan to be graduation eligible with courses with us for your senior year.
Anyone want to talk about credit, no credit, and the impact on GPA?
Yeah, I can talk
So-
about that one. Oh, go ahead, Ms. Lamb. You go for it.
Okay, so it wouldn't impact your grade point average because there's no letter grade, and college admissions are very aware of that. So it just wouldn't be calculated into the student's grade point average. For rising seniors, we will give you that option if you want to report what was your school closure grade prior to SIP, then we would have that option for our rising seniors.
There's also a notation on the transcript itself that says we went to remote learning in the spring of 2020 and courses are credit, no credit. And you can all actually look at your transcript or your student's transcript on Infinite Campus. You all have access to it. So if you want to take a peek at it, we always advise students to do it twice a year, once after each semester, just to double check their grades and their credits and stuff like that. So, you know, go ahead and check it after this presentation. You can see that notation that's on there too.
How about credits that are taken outside of MV? How does that work?
So we don't post outside credits. If you take enrichment courses outside at a community college or at a program like Legend or any of those summer enrichment opportunities, we do not post those onto our Monte Vista High School transcript. You're welcome to take those classes, and you would self-report those classes, those outside classes, onto your college application, and you would submit those separate directly to your prospective universities.
The question I'm seeing here, does ceramics count towards art? I'm assuming through the A to G is the question.
Yes, it does.
And woodworking
Woodworking
is not an art class. Woodworking
Not an
is
art.
is an applied academic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it feels like we've kind of shifted gears away from course selection. We're getting a lot of questions around SATs and things like that. So hopefully we were able to address, all of the questions that you had. Again, we're going to be posting the document that has course specific videos and all the links that you're going to need for electives night and the course information fair that'll be available by Monday. And